Okay, welcome back to the final part of the Bluebird K7 build. What we're going to look at in this part is the applying the paint, applying some highlight details on the panel lines, and then applying the final coat. And then from that we'll probably look and move on to mounting the actual model and finishing it all off. What I've done since the end of the last video, I've given it a coat of primer, in fact 2 or 3 coats, spotted any imperfections, cleaned them back down, rubbed them down, and then applied the primer back over them. It's humbrol primer, enamel primer I've used in this case. What I'm doing now is doing the pre-shading for the panel lines. The pre-shading is to sort of give a bit of definition to the model when it's finished and the final coat goes on. And that involves, as you can see I've already started here, is just to apply a thin line of a darker paint colour across the model. Looks like I've just spilt a bit on the top there, but never mind. We can just rub it off because the paint will cover it. The idea is that when we put the final coat on, we don't put it on too thick, and we just let the paint, the panel line paint, the highlight, just show through. So you'll just excuse me a moment while I put the compressor on. I do have the window open, wearing a mask and such, and here we go. All we need to do is just apply a line of paint thinly along the lines of the rivets, if you can hear me, that is, along the lines of the rivets and the panel lines that we scribed earlier on. Don't worry if you overspray on this, because you will just cover over the mistakes with your final coat of paint. The highlights will bring out the definitions and would really sort of be picking up shadows and stuff if it were the real thing. What we're doing here in this part on the tail is just picking up some definition where the light would form a shadow. I'm just trying now to get into the front and the panel line. The panel line that goes around the front of the boat. Don't forget, you can be as untidy as you want with this, as I'm certainly being untidy. I've actually chosen an insignia blue for this. It's a very dark blue, almost a royal blue. I think rather than the black, it would probably give a bit of a better definition and a line underneath the blue of the final colour. I'm doing the panel lines and the rivets. And I think we're about done. Doesn't take very long. And I think as my compressor starts kicking in and out, we'll call that about done. Okay, we'll let that go off and then we'll come back and look at putting the main coat on. Okay, so after the panel lines, the pre-shading we've done, we've now put down a couple of coats of the base coat, the base colour. For this I'm using a humbrol enamel. It's number 14, French blue, which I think is probably the closest we can get to the colour of Bluebird, although Bluebird was painted a number of different shades of blue throughout its life, so whichever one you choose would probably class as being correct. What we're going to do now, we've let it all go off and go hard for a day or so, and now we're just going to touch it up and pick up all the pieces that we've missed, and hopefully this should be the last, if not the next to last coat. So I'll just top up the colour cup with the thinned paint. Find the lid, put the lid on that, we don't want to splash it all over. I've thinned this about to the consistency of milk, just with ordinary white spirit, and it seems to work quite well. So all we're going to do, I'll turn my compressor back on and we'll just pick up some of the paint. Okay. We're just picking up the areas where it's gone thin. This is a stage as well where if you've gone wrong on some of your pre-shading lines, you can just kill them. Cover them over with a coat of the base coat. Really is difficult just to pick out in the light just what is grey and what's blue, but we'll get there. And there we are, we're getting, I think, to the end. We've picked out, I think, everything I've missed, just checking across one or two others. There's always a little bit somewhere that you've missed. As it dries as well, may highlight some other parts where we've missed a drop of paint. It's always worth keeping a bit of paint spare in the bottle, in the tin, just in case you have missed something or you messed something up, just to touch up again. It's not something you can really see on the video, I guess, but the highlights, the pre-shading that we've done does show a little bit, just does show through. It doesn't show as vividly as it was when you just put it on against the grey, but there's just a general difference in tone in the colour, just to highlight the detail and take that blandness and flatness away from the plain surface area. So I'll just check underneath. We haven't sprayed the bottom yet. I shall be doing that shortly. Same technique. I'll spray it that I'll be using what I think probably a dark grey for the hull. Whether that's right or wrong, but I don't know, but that's how I'll be doing this model anyway. It'll be displayed on a stand. So with a bit of masking off, I'll need to mask off as well to paint the canopy, which I'll be doing in a silver type colour, just to give it an impression of the glazing. As unfortunately there isn't a clear canopy part in this kit, which probably would have been nice. I think we're getting towards the end of the paint in the paint cup now. One or two little spots just to finish off with. Sometimes it's difficult, especially on this shape, being aerodynamic, it deflects some of the paint spray. So you need to spray at different angles just to get the paint in them corners. Okay, I think that will do. The cup is empty. It's come together. That's the base coat done. And we'll let that dry. I'll then give it a coat of clear varnish, and that varnish will help with the panel lines. We'll let this dry and then we'll look at doing that. Okay, since the last time we've gone on now and I've really put on the final coat, I thought rather than you just watching me spraying and watching paint dry, it was just a matter I thought I'd crack on and get it done. You can also see that I've taken the opportunity to put on the decals as well. These are not your standard decals, the water slide ones. They're actually a self-adhesive sticker, really. Just a matter of cutting them out to shape and putting them in position. It doesn't really tell you on the instructions where to put these, you just really have to refer to the the box, the picture on the front of the box. It would have been nice just to explain where they go, but that's been that. They have been put onto a base colour of humbrol clear, a gloss varnish. That really helps them settle down and go on to a nice firm base. I've added the panel lines. The panel lines have just been a simple oil wash, which brings the detail out a little bit more, which was the intention at the start. The rear has been painted with humbrol enamel. What number was that? It was metallic 56, which is aluminium. And it's all been given a protective coat of the humbrol clear. What we're about to do now is put its final coat on, really, just to finish it all off and protect the labels as well. If you haven't used this clear before, it's quite simple to apply straight from the bottle into the colour cup of your airbrush. Doesn't need a lot of it. You can build up the colours as you can build up the thickness as you go along, just by giving it some short thin coat and build it up, and it will come up to a shine. So we'll get on and give the model its final coat. So just switch the compressor on using about 15 psi, and just giving it a blast over, really just sealing those decals in, and the oil wash on the panel lines. Unfortunately, I can't find my turntable. It was in the garage, I'm sure it was, and it's disappeared. Once we've done this, we're about done, really. I've decided to mount it on a piece of clear thick perspex. I do have it, if you go to local sign makers or something like that, they should be able to provide you with some perspex if you want to go that way, or just using a simple wooden base. Using the foam that we put on the inside of the hull, I'll drill some holes in the bottom of the model, use some styrene rod, and then use that to mount onto a piece of perspex, which should give it a final, like, floating invisible stand. Just about done. Just get this done, and then we can turn the compressor off for the final time. Okay, there we are. You may also notice here I've made an antenna. That's just a bristle from a domestic plastic hand brush. just cut the bristle out and use that as the aerial. It does mention, I think, that in the instructions. There, we're really about done. All we've got to do now is just to put the spray guards on. These are just cut from the clear plastic that's in the kit. They'll go on there. I'll put, it's gone a bit dark here. I'll put those on those there when the gloss is dried, and that really will be about it. So what do I think? Well, it's not been the simplest of kits to go together. I think without some of our detail work, such as the rivets and such like that, it would have been a bit of a bland blue blob, really. Instructions, yeah, they were basic. Needed a bit of thinking about, some research on the internet, some pictures of the real thing, but it's gone together. I think it's made a reasonable type model, but certainly not something from the beginner, for the beginner. Somebody that needs a little bit of experience to put vac-form together, really. It's an art in itself. So that's about it. That's the Bluebird K7 built from box to the finished model. Thanks for watching this series of short videos. Hopefully if you go out and get one, if you've got any questions, just drop an email. Okay, thank you for watching. So that's all from Ted, and see you again.